What's up, party people? DFW Real Estate Weekly with Todd Tremonti, but not just Todd Tremonti. We have the full price Courtney.
She's here.
So glad you just had a drink of coffee. Also, the English wonder himself, the Yanni Donnie.
Aloha.
Our very own AI, often agitated Ian, sometimes animated Ian. I'm working on some new ones. Hey, we're talking seasonality today, but specifically within the small acreage, big backyard homes on land community. There are some questions that we want to get to. And of course, this is what we do all day, every day. So we got a pretty good read on what home buyers and sellers and folks that just want to enjoy their acreage property are doing. But there is some movement within a normal calendar year of when these things happen. And we want our friends, our listeners, our viewers to be able to take advantage of the trends, at least to be aware of the trends, and by all means to be protected from getting hurt by the patterns and the trends in the marketplace. Rule number one, if everybody's running right, you almost always want to be running left. So just know what the trends are and be able to benefit from those. And so the trends generally are, everybody moves spring and summer. The trend post-COVID for a lot of people, at least the assumption was more people are moving out onto some land. They can do remote work. They want more space. But there have been multiple movements that have driven the trend towards more homes on land, more acreage property. There's been sort of the homeschool, unique school model trend. By the way, huge in the news now with sort of this vouchers in Texas and all these things. There's sort of the sustainability, grow your own food, raise your own animals kind of thing. There's the kind of side gig culture of having a business alongside your job, maybe a shop or a place to work at home. There's just this control and freedom movement of, I don't want a gym membership or a pool membership or a storage unit. I want all that at home. I want to control that. And then there's, of course, the spirit of the great state of Texas and just more space is better. And there's others. So all of those things are compounding into when and why and how do people buy, sell, and enjoy homes on small acreage. And I want to talk about this a little bit because right now, as we record this, it's February, which most people would consider a down time. But in the world of residential real estate, it is mid to late March because that's a contract that goes in today is likely to close and fund then. So we are there. We are in the spring and summer market. When people tell you, hey, March of 2024, the market did this, they're reporting things that finalized, that sold, that were purchased, which means things that were initiated 4, 6, 8 weeks before that. That's why we talk about it this way. So right now in February, we're talking mid to late March. We are in that normal uptick of seasonality. And I want to talk to our friends who are lovers of land or owners of land about where the opportunities and maybe some of those risks are.
Well, I think there's a ton of questions and a ton of categories of things that you need to consider when you're looking for land. And I guess what I'm most interested in today in this conversation is what you said, the seasonality. Yep. and the timing of things. In future episodes, we'll get into some other minutia of land and the freedom.
Somebody was reading a dictionary this week.
The lifestyle of it, and selling later and just concerns and fears and dreams, right? Yeah. There's so many positives to living on land.
Believe it.
But today, we're talking about timing.
Yeah.
And so my question is, when are people buying homes on land?
Yeah, we're going to go to analytical Ian on this one. He can give you the raw data, and then I'll give you sort of just the temperament, the thinking of the marketplace.
All the time.
Okay, thanks for that. We appreciate you. And he's not wrong, by the way. There's not a single month in a market this big. That would be silly if there was. There's not a single month where there isn't significant amounts of market activity, buying, selling, renting, transferring of deeds, and all those things in the category that we call homes on land, which is kind of the 1 to 5 acre property. Really, it's like the half acre to 5-ish.
So I pulled up 1 acre and above.
Yep.
And there really isn't that much of a difference month over month. Like, yes, you've got your slower months, January, February, you're in like 26 to 2,800 homes.
Okay.
And then your busy months, you're in 36 to 3,800 homes.
Yep.
It's not that much of a difference.
So here's what's funny. That's basically true of all housing. It's
Yeah.
just that homes on land, the category we call homes on land is about 10% of our overall market. You look at 20-something thousand homes to 30-something thousand single families. And we're carving out just the 1 acre and up properties. And they're around 10% of that total market. And so the same percentage shift happens.
Yeah,
right?
if I bump it to a half acre or more, those slower months jump up by 600 to 800 homes, and the busier months jump up by about 1,000, 1,200.
Right. So it's fairly proportionate. So what we're telling you is this market acts very similar to the traditional single-family residential neighborhood townhome condo. Part of that is because there's so much data. DFW is such a large area that there's just a lot of data. So you get some similarity in the averages. If you asked me, does Wiley operate the same as Aledo? No, but broadly in the averages, it does. It follows that traditional bell curve, the seasonality of the market, people moving more so spring, summer than fall, winter, but still a lot of people still moving fall, winter. So that being said, let's answer the question this way. Historically, Courtney, people move when people move, which is more people moving in spring and summer than fall and winter. But in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, people move year round. There's always good activity.
It's so confusing to me that there's trends, because I'm like, when you got to move, you got to move. Like, what are we doing?
Yes, but if I said to you, do you want to move in the middle of your kid's school semester and sports season, or do you want to try to move when there's a little bit more downtime?
I don't feel like
you don't have to answer that.
that luxury is there.
Right. Most people historically do say when there's a little bit of downtime. It's funny because I've talked with thousands of clients in my 20 plus years in this business, and I say to them, like, let me ask that differently. Would you like to deal with all of your furniture moving and changing all your utilities while somebody else is watching your kids, or while they're in the room having to dodge the couch? And they're like, oh, actually, that's a good point. Maybe we should move while they are in school and at school. So obviously, lots of different people have different motivations and reasons for moving. Some people have the flexibility to wait a few months. Others don't. It's like job change, you got to go, whatever. And I think that is the reason in a market this big that we see significant real estate activity in every month and every week and every quarter. And the answer to your question is that is also true for homes on land. I will tell you the interest and the intrigue and the eyeballs and the ears peak up right about now. I would say the first warm weekend of the year, attractive, fun to be outside on the weekend of the year, is when the energy around homes on land peaks. Not peaks, begins to lift. And what I mean by that is a lot of people want the land because they want to be outside. So the first time in any normal calendar year where it's like enjoyable to be outside, even though it's a tease, third winter is coming, there will be more snow or ice or something. But the point is, that's when we see more questions, more calls, more eyeballs online. We see people going to the big box stores and buying plants too early. But it's logical. The emotion, the romance of it, the idea of it, the realism of it starts to peak when the thing you want to do with that home, be outside and enjoy it, becomes more feasible. It's like people buy boats before summer so they can use it all summer, and you don't want to be selling a boat after the lake season. It's very similar with homes on land.
Wasn't it this time last year that Courtney went and bought some plants or tree or something?
Like immediately. And
it was
dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
$70 in the middle of the show.
You want the homes on land ace in the hole. I know you don't have a ton of land, but you got a good backyard.
Just came flooding back to me, that memory.
You go and you buy it.
The raspberry bushes.
You go and you buy it now.
Yeah.
But you don't plant it yet. So at my house, I just put a ton of stuff in the greenhouse last weekend. At your house, you put it in the kitchen window or you put it in the garage and you open the garage door and let it get some sun and stuff.
Courtney's attention span's not that much though. You said buy raspberry plants or something. She bought them. Done.
Listen,
It's quick. It's an ADHD.
I've been there. You're not alone. And anyone listening who owns or dreams of owning, small acreage property knows this romanticism of it all too. You're like, ooh, our kids pick berries. I want them to pick berries in our yard. We have enough room, and then you plant them, and then they get frozen out. Or you get excited in July, and that's a terrible time to be planting almost anything new around here. And you do that. But again, that speaks to the topic today of there's seasonality of buying and selling. There's seasonality of planting and enjoying the crops, and there's seasonality of renewals and all these things, right? So we do orchard tour videos all the time. Check out our YouTube channel. And the most recent winter orchard tour is like, you need to draw on the romanticism of it because it looks terrible right now. Everything looks dead. If you came out here, you would say this is not great. But the seasonality says there's something I need to be thinking about and doing in the winter so that I can enjoy the spring and summer. Or in Texas, the short spring and fall and parts of the summer. For example, I did a tremendous amount of pruning of fruit trees this last weekend. I wanted to be planting and thinking about new stuff, but really I just needed to take care of what I already had. I did also take a ton of cuttings, and I've got those seeded in the planted in the greenhouse as well. But all that to say, seasonality, I think, does matter more for homes on land than in a typical property. And that's only because you're operating on multiple levels. Seasonality of buying, selling, owning. There's a season in Texas where we're thinking about our tax valuations. And then if you have land and you want to grow or raise animals, there are seasons, the natural patterns of plants and animals and things like that. If you have kids, there's seasons for school, there's seasons for sports. But when it comes to property on some acreage, people are buying and selling them pretty much at the same patterns as other single family properties. Now, I think if you're selling one, the marketability of them does matter. I can market the heck out of an outdoor kitchen when it's nice out. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot less enjoyable to go like tinker and scout that outdoor kitchen in late August when it's like you're sweating thinking about stepping onto the patio. And it's pretty tough, last week of February when it's like brutally windy and icy and cold. You're like, man, I don't want to be out there grilling right now unless you're just a true diehard. But in the beautiful months of the year where the weather's cool, the window's down in the car months, I'm going to get you more money for your house because of the outdoor grilling area, because of the little seating area, because of the swing you put in the tree for the kids. And so seasonality absolutely does matter. So Ian, the data's almost boring here. It's very predictable, but that we have clients outperform that data all the time by sitting down with us. Thoughts on how do we take advantage of the data for a buyer or a seller?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to creating a story to tell, right? I mean, we can, when we sit down with somebody, we're learning about the home, we're learning about the history of it, we're learning about what's happening in the area. But with a home on land, it's like, hey, here's all the things that you can do with it. Like, you have to tell a story to be able to maximize things. Otherwise, everyone's just doing the same thing. And it's like, yeah, you can do this, this, and this. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but what else? Like,
let me give you one other thought, Courtney, that piggybacks what Ian just said. So he's talking about when we're representing a seller, right? We want to understand the whole story of the property. What is romantic about it? What is desirable? What do we need to kind of overcome? Someone was referred to us this week. I was talking to the family. And they said, unfortunately, we have incredible interior photos, but unfortunately, the only outside photos we have right now are kind of cruddy because we just took them in winter. Well, if I'm a buyer, I want to buy acreage property before it's beautiful. I want to buy when other buyers are like, ugh, it's kind of gross. Like, it's muddy out there. All the trees look dead. I'm not excited about that. That's when I want to buy. I want to sell when there are apples on the trees. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell their agent before they come to the showing, hey, feel free to pull a couple of apples off this tree and give them to your buyers. Mm-hmm. Are you freaking kidding me? an apple that
Vision.
truthfully, the apple at the store is probably way cheaper because of all the time and energy put into growing apples. But the reality is, whatever. What does that apple cost me? And it just like 10x'd the romanticism of this property for them. But if they're seeing it and their agent doesn't know a lot about it and that tree looks totally dormant and dead, they don't even know it's an apple tree, right? They had to like just run through the grilling area to get out of the cold and the wind, right? Or they didn't even go outside. So that's not rocket science either. But these are things people don't do. They don't think about that you can take advantage of if you just recognize that seasonality is a thing and there's some strategy around it, which of course, this is what we do all day long on the Todd Tremonti Homeselling team. We'd love to help you with that. You'll find our information somewhere below this video or in the show notes on the audio. By the way, you're also going to find information on people like Patrick Glaros, who's been my go-to personal mortgage lender for over 20 years. My wife and I have not bought any personal property in any way without Patrick involved if we had a mortgage involved. And I think that's a pretty good idea for you too. If you're going to think about borrowing, refinancing, getting a mortgage of any kind, or even just factoring how your mortgage fits into your overall financial picture, I suggest you reach out to Patrick Glaros. His information is in the show notes or in the description of this video or audio. And if all else fails, just go to toddtremontiteam.com and all of our information and our friends and the folks that we trust and use ourselves is all there. If we can help you make a purchase or a sale or a further investment in your property or just to enjoy it more, that's our passion. That's what we do. That's what we feel gifted and called to do. Our information is also in the show notes below the audio or video, and you can find all of that online at toddtremontiteam.com.